like it's got plenty. Kim Forge and Powell escorting it down the ice, but not laying a brush to it. This one's sliding deep again. Bridget Becker allowed to sweep that stone once it reaches the tee line, and it moves to the back 12 foot, so it stays in the ring. So
that's fine.
Confidence builder there for Michelle Fredericks-Armstrong.
That white was pretty good.
Rules of play for tonight, it's 6 ends minimum. The game is scheduled for 10 ends. Each team has 38 minutes of thinking time to play their shots, and each team has one 60-second timeout.
Back 8. Back 12.
Yeah.
I think it might be out, Bridget.
Yeah.
Oh, it's slowing. It's pulling out.
Stopping.
It's pulling out.
Leave it up here. Leave it high.
Becker looking to keep the stones high in the rings.
Ooh.
Comes full 8.
We'll work it out. What'd you get?
Yeah.
Give me this hand. Okay.
Straight up.
Australian second player. And Powell. From Melbourne.
Yep. On it. All the way. Hard. Hard, hard. Hard. Come on. Quick.
Forge and Fredericks-Armstrong trying to hold the line with the brushing. Catches a piece. Is it enough to push it out of the rings?
Come on, Helen.
Williams.
That'll do, Anne. Well done.
Strong effort on the brushing by the Australian skip. Pushes that stone out of the rings. And the New Zealand second player, Tika Jarajan. Another player with lots of international experience, although she's only 26 years of age. She's competed in women's. She's also represented New Zealand in the World Mixed Curling Championships. This one's sliding deep as well, so players fighting the draw weight a little bit here in the early going. This one slides just through the rings.
Just a 4. Top 12.
Yes. Yeah. 80.
And Powell.
Sweep, Anne. Come on, Kim.
Really want this one on the rings, but I think it's going to come just short.
Right.
So chance here for the Kiwis to maybe go around.
I think maybe need Anne to come in. Like if it's close like that, just get her to sweep too.
Well, that is a kind of useful spot. Forces New Zealand to come play along the centre line. Be a chance for Australia to try and cut down the scoring area a wee bit.
Thompson and Smith on the brushes. This one is really curling. I think it's going to overcurl.
A bit short for weight too. Just coming up hold tight. You catch the fresh path just inside the draw path and pulls up short. That's 2 centimeters now for Australia to come around. A great chance to sit to. And if they can ever come, if they're even just half grade, they get a bit of a stagger on here.
So it's a 3-7. 3-7-5. Shorter's better. Okay, top house.
Kim Forge, the Australian third.
Sporting the good old Randy Furby broom on the shoulder.
No line.
Yes, line. Yes, line. Line. Yeah, line. Line. Come on, line.
Kim was also born in the province of Alberta in Canada, but now she resides in the state of Victoria here in Australia. And this one is looking pretty nice. They don't want to slide behind the tee line, though. Great line, though. Nice shot by Kim Forge. And Australia is line 2. And one of them is buried perfectly. So here's another young New Zealand curler of the future, but the future is now for Jessica Smith, 20 years old.
Where is it? Tight. Okay, gotta go. Yes.
Pretty important shot here.
Where is it? T. Yep.
After a couple of misses, really need to make a good one here. Looking pretty close.
Oh, very nice shot there by Jess Smith. And New Zealand lies 1. That's a nice bailout shot, picking her teammates up, Sander.
Yeah, really important to get one back.
Just sit here.
Okay.
Another miss there, and they'd be in heaps of trouble. So that certainly helps out her team.
And that one is perfectly buried.
I think for line. Better go for line.
This one's really starting to cut, but sweepers think it's got lots of weight.
Yes, no. Yes, hard. Hard.
It's going to make a little bit of contact on the New Zealand stone and actually nudges it into third shot position. So good result there for Kim Forge. Yeah, pretty good. Shot stone should be open for Jess Smith, however, on her intern.
Yeah,
Sweepers are on it right away. They think this one's a bit narrow. Trying to hold the line to get a piece. Does she buy the guard? Yes. Nudges it back, and once again, New Zealand is lying one. So a little nervy there for the Kiwis, but good result.
Let's do the same what we just threw.
Watch how close this comes to the guard. Jaranj and Thompson holding the line with the brushing, just getting it by the guard. Inside roll, hits her own stone, but sticks there in the forefoot. New Zealand lies one. Watch how close it comes to the guard. Just about an inch of clearance there.
Draw to the 4.
New Zealand with the hammer here in the first. And we see Bridget Becker and Jessica Smith.
Just like Kiwi, or did she throw Kiwi?
Here is Australian skip Helen Williams.
No line yet. No line. Whoa, no. It's all here. Nope, no line yet. Stay close,
They're
Em.
not laying a brush to it yet, but this
Whoa.
one's making a pretty good move, digging in now. That's a pretty good first up attempt for Dr. Williams. That's a great shot.
I'm not sure if you could place that any better, actually.
Well judged. That's good.
Gets the piece tucked in behind the red stone there.
I didn't ask actually.
Real nice angle. It'd be hard to move this without jamming on the Yellowstone back of the 4. Actually touches that one on the way past.
Hit the back of the New Zealand stone going by. That's amazing. Lots of movement here, which is terrific. It gives us lots of shot-making possibilities, and now the pressure swings back onto New Zealand skip Bridget Becker to try and match that.
Some parallel parking there.
Here is Bridget Becker. Sweeper's on it right away. I think she might be a bit narrow on this one. Does she buy the guard? No, I think she's going to wreck. So a good chance here for the Australians to force the issue.
Better. Right up here.
Okay, yep.
Okay, so we need to be on this side of center.
Yep.
More. 90.
Yep.
Can't get over how well tucked in that draw shot of Helen Williams is. It came in at about a 45-degree angle. It's not often you can use a stone in the front of the forefoot as a guard.
Time? So I'm going to give you 3 things.
So I think they're just throwing a front stone here. Top 12-foot tight guard. If they were feeling a little more aggressive, they could have maybe come down and play a corner freeze on the red, try and sit 2, but opting for the safer shot here.
Okay.
Make sure it's over.
No. It's got to curl. Whoa, looks fine.
Tell us when to
Just
finish
leave
it.
it, guys.
Tell us when.
No.
Tell us
Higher
when.
the better.
Slowing now.
Whoa. No. Helen, good. I love it there.
Okay, that's good. Well done.
Nice shot.
Comes to rest about
Yep, nice teamwork.
1/3 of the way up to the hog line, taking away the path to the button.
Good.
So a couple of choices here.
Get past it, but whether you can get it with enough weight to bump it over. Can you come at it that way?
You don't want to rest triple now.
Okay.
Looks to me like she's thinking about threading the needle through that port right up the center line. Could also try the out turn and just try to angle her own on the out turn side.
Yeah, I think she's picking the most difficult option here. I think Hans, I agree, the out turn tap on the red or just a cool draw to the pin on the in turn seems a lot easier, at least makeable.
Huh? No, massive.
That's the confidence you need if that's your shot choice.
Yeah. I could pan out very bad.
I'm honestly not sure if it's there, Hans.
Yeah, that's tough.
Even if you come real close to that yellow guard with lots of weight, there's still a good chance you'll overcurl and catch your own.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
So it's the last stone on its way for Bridget Becker.
Close. Yep. Whoa! Wow!
I guess we'll find out. Oh.
Yep.
And catching the red. Oh boy.
That's a disaster for New Zealand.
Yeah.
That gives Australia a steal of 3. So some questionable shot selection, unfortunately, punishes the New Zealanders. And an amazing start for Australia out of nowhere. Great freeze or draw to the button by Helen Williams pays off. And an error by the New Zealanders after one end of play. It's Australia on top, 3-0.
1, 2, 3, team. Okay.
Lots of shots made.
Let's go.
Do it. Yep.
Back with live action here in
out here.
Erina, Australia.
I think so, and
Michelle Fredericks Armstrong gets it underway for the Australians, and still in kind of shock after the end of that first end.
Losing its handle. Come on, get it.
Disastrous result for Bridget Becker on her final stone.
That's fine. Okay.
Went from trying to score 1 and all of a sudden a little heavy, bad angles, and bang, you drop 3.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if the shot was there. I mean, she threw it as close as she possibly could, especially with the weight that she was throwing. Still caught her own rock. Definitely a draw would be a lot safer.
sorry. Whoa. Good, Holly. Good way.
Holly Thompson trying to set a corner guard. A bit wide for a corner guard, but it'll be useful.
Same thing. Clean release. Okay. Same weight.
I guess from the New Zealand perspective, you never like dropping 3, but if you're going to drop a 3, dropping it in the first end is probably the best time in the game for it to happen. 10 ends to play, lots of time left.
It's T. Back 4.
Fredericks Armstrong slides just past the tee line, but good shooting there from the Australian lead. Finding her range on the draw.
Just over curling a bit. So much swing in the ice here, which as a curler you love, but just not throwing quite enough rotation on the rock, and just kind of grabs on all too much. He's taking edge of 12 foot there for ice, and still over curling, so I just need to throw it a tiny bit more positive. But weight control, really nice. And the same from Holly Thompson here, coming around the corner guard.
Nice shot there from
Yeah,
Thompson.
I like
So even though the Australians are holding shot, the Kiwi stone is behind the corner guard.
Good.
There's Ann Powell.
3.
Am I correct saying that Australia doesn't have a dedicated curling
And sweep,
facility.
please, if it's short. Come on.
It's fine.
That's
Come on,
exactly right, Sander.
Come on, and sweep.
New Zealand does have 2 dedicated curling facilities,
Okay, well
but
then, whoa.
there is no
There's good.
dedicated curling facility in Australia. They do curl in Melbourne.
Shot in.
They hire an ice rink, and they'll curl there once a week through the winter time. There's curling in Queensland. There's also now curling in Western Australia, where both Helen Williams and Michelle Fredericks-Armstrong are from. It's kind of ironic, actually. You know, the 2 of the Australians probably had a longer flight to get here than the New Zealanders did, coming from Perth to Sydney on the other coast of Australia.
Roll it.
J.R. Engine trying to make a play on the Australian shots, but
Yeah.
moves the front guard away. There's New Zealand coach Nelson Eade looking on.
Had enough ice time to
It's fine
I don't
there.
know, to train for a championship, but they're doing quite well.
Think we do this?
Here's Australian coach Robert Armstrong looking on. Yes, in fact, many of the Australian curlers actually do travel over to New Zealand, both to train, and they often hold the Australian National Championships in New Zealand on the dedicated curling ice that's available in New Zealand.
You gonna roll it your way? Yep. Whoa.
Just kind of feel that for Australia to
Let's try it.
to develop some good teams and compete, they might need a dedicated ice facility to play curling
Do you like this?
No doubt.
Here.
every day,
Okay.
at least for in the winter.
Guard.
No doubt. New Zealand didn't have a dedicated curling facility until 2005, and now you've got the likes of
Right on center line.
Jessica
Okay,
Smith
we're touching
and
this
Holly
side.
Thompson, who grew up in the neighborhood where the curling rink is, and now they're representing New Zealand internationally. They learned their craft at the local curling rink, and I agree, Sander, for
No line yet.
Australia to keep pace.
You can bring it now if you
Higher
need to.
better.
If
A
you need to
dedicated
bring
curling
it.
rink would help them out a
Okay.
lot.
No, you don't.
Want it here. Want it here. Want it here.
Well, stones are certainly accumulating for the Aussies here. We've got 2 in the 4-foot. Now it's guarded, so
Over and gets that. That's all right.
Bridget Becker now asking Jess Smith to play the run back on the red stone, trying to drive the red stone back onto the yellow shot.
Yep. 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 Hard.
Are they by that yellow guard at the top of the 12? Oh, they missed the target rock, but get the stone in the back of the 4-foot.
A little bit. Huh? I kicked that one a little bit forward.
Pretty nice stone there by Jess Smith.
Another guard.
J.R. Engine and Thompson holding the line.
I think.
Just get it by that yellow
Guard's
guard
good.
just at the
Yep.
top of the
If
house.
they hit this, this goes. So do you want a guard here?
Okay.
Or you draw another
in.
one in?
Okay.
You like this?
Yep. So same. What was my time?
And what the New Zealanders accomplished with that, Sander,
Okay.
they've got a bit of a cluster, even though the Australians are shot. New Zealand's got 2nd, 3rd, and 4th shot in the rings right now, so some danger here for the Australians. Kim Forge can't really make an error here, otherwise they could wind up dropping a bundle if the Kiwis could ever make a double takeout.
Yes? Yep.
Yep. A little bit.
Come on.
Come on, guys.
Yeah,
Go
come on, come on. On, hurry.
Go on, go on,
Come on. Come on. Right up, on. Right up. Quick. Oh, okay. Bring it.
Almost by the guard, just
Right.
clipping it. Pushes their own stone into the top 8-foot, so
That's the risk with that one.
It is.
well, that's right, Kim. That was the risk. If you don't get around, you do run the risk of leaving it
Control.
open. So here's the chance for Jess Smith to try and make that double takeout that the Kiwis really need to turn this end around. Can they hold the line? Oh,
Wow.
just passed.
It's hard to get to the inside there, actually.
It absolutely is. Inside roll.
So just guard.
But quite a few red stones accumulating.
That one really
Yeah,
difficult.
you'd be nervous.
Okay, so
If you're
guard.
Australia now, you'd be very nervous.
So where do we want our guard?
Can't
Here.
really hit too many
No,
of them either. They're in
well,
behind
I think I
cover.
want it there.
They can go at this all day. It's not going.
Okay.
It's not there on that side.
So we should cover this raise.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a 90, Helen, for sure.
Yep.
It's quite keen.
So the straight back, the double raise takeout, yellow onto yellow, is the shot that they're trying to take away from New Zealand. There is an angle run in for New
So we
Zealand
need a really good
on the
guard
stone on the
here.
right-hand, top right-hand side of our
Guard
screen.
on the centre line to stop them raising yellow onto red. I think.
The yellow and the red are so close that even if Helen Williams guards, might be a chance for Bridget Becker to actually try a triple raise. It's all about placement.
Where is it? Two's good.
One.
Whoa, whoa. Higher's better, guys. Higher's better. Whoa.
One.
Whoa.
Gotta count. Two. Tell me when.
No, you're not. Leave it all day long. No, 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 no.
I'm just cleaning.
No.
Tell me when.
You're not doing it. Great shot.
Well, I think they could have swept that one a bit more for Lion Sander
Yeah.
by letting it come to rest.
So we got to give it a go.
Yeah, the shot is there on the out turn now.
We need to try and get.
Yeah, by sweeping, get it to finish just a bit more.
A little more.
So the door is open just a crack for Team New Zealand. If Bridget Becker can navigate past that yellow guard just at the top of our screen, drive the yellow onto the red, onto the yellow, and New Zealand will be lying 3.
I'd love to throw enough weight here, though, to move that yellow stone out of the 8-foot. Sit 3.
I think it's definitely there. Even if she hits half, I think she's going to make it.
Yeah. It's just,
Control, down a little maybe.
moving quite a bit of granite. So
Yeah, stay close. Wow, it's not curling.
enough weight, I think.
She needs to get enough contact to move the rocks, though. Has she? Yes, she has.
Get started.
Yes, she has. New Zealand's lying 3.
Or right up the middle.
But you'd have to put that down to a sweeping error judgment call for the
Through the middle?
Australians. Did have an opportunity to park
Should
that
come
guard,
through
and they
the
didn't
middle.
quite do it.
Should we try and draw through the middle? Remember we talked about this in a previous game and we tried to draw through a hole rather than hitting, so we at least had a stone in play. Or do we want to try and raise that one in? If we
I
try
like
and raise
this.
that one in, I prefer that.
Yeah.
You like hitting that?
Yeah.
I don't think so. No, I think we should. I think we should try and draw something in.
Draw a tap.
Yeah, draw tap.
Quite-
Tap that one in.
Quite clear
Okay,
that Helen
so
wants to throw a
back
draw.
line-ish, or hack weight. Hack weight with this.
Probably inside of it,
Okay.
I think.
Hack weight.
Yep.
Kim Forge is thinking about removing the New Zealand stone, but I think Helen Williams is thinking, we just want to get one in the rings behind cover and cut down the
I
damage.
think.
So do you like this?
Yeah. Maybe slightly less.
Yeah, the
Okay.
risk is if she steps the
Just
weight up,
hack.
and if she does throw hack, it could track, blow by everything,
Okay, so
and
I'm
then
going
all
to
of a
play
sudden
a
New
hack
Zealand's
weight tap.
drying for
Tap
4.
our yellow up because we need some stones further in because they lie 4 at the moment.
Well, it's only 3, Helen, but it's still a lot. You do want to get one in
Hack weight.
there. It's a lot of ice.
It's light.
Okay, Williams immediately thinks she's light.
It's light. Light.
This might work
More
out better.
back.
Yes! Oh, lost it. Yep. Yep, 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 yep. Whoa, off.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, that'll do.
Yeah,
Wow.
That was the right
good
call.
plan B.
Yeah,
I think
right
that's what
call.
Helen wanted to throw all along, as a guard. Boy,
Lucky.
that was a break.
Good one. We had him off it and it just dove.
Yeah, have to keep them on it.
So now New Zealand is weighing up the risk reward. Bridget Becker could try the same shot that she just threw, try to drive the red on the yellow and maybe score 4.
You want to see that? Just Carolyn to them.
Yeah.
I don't want to hit that one though.
Could just draw for 2. It looks like she's considering just the draw.
Oh, draw away. Yeah. I don't mind bumping it.
I don't know, Sandra. I'd have a thought about going for it, wouldn't you?
No doubt in my mind.
Just that's why I was trying to keep drawing some in.
Yep.
It's tough to even make the draw here, Hans. I'd say the easier shot is to make the run back.
Well, we can try and hit that red back onto the yellow.
Catch a piece of it.
I think draw it.
Considering you just gave up a steal of 3.
Yeah. Her front end players are encouraging her to draw, but I'm with you, Sandra. I'd be playing the run back.
Ice is a bit slow.
Because she doesn't really have much room to navigate at all for a draw.
And again, the call just doesn't make quite sense to me. It's an impressive one if she makes it, but it's a tough draw. I'd say the hit.
Comes to rest, it's short, trips the front guard, and it is only 1, so an end that had a little bit of everything nets out to result to 1 point for New Zealand. Swings and roundabouts. Boy, oh boy, this game is going to be interesting, folks. After 2 ends of play, it's Australia 3 and New Zealand 1.
Jess was throwing 285 for 2 with a lot of sweeping.
All right. That was better.
Yeah.
Saturday night in Erina, Australia. Live action at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2017. Hans Farnlop here with you and Sandra Rolvag. Well, some head-scratching decisions, frankly, by the New Zealanders. They had some really a golden opportunity there in the second end to have at least a try at a shot for 4.
There you go.
Elected to make a really tough draw and still scored the 1. But you don't really get many opportunities in a game to even try a shot for 3 or 4, do you?
I mean, sometimes I appreciate the restraint. I mean, if you have an easy draw for 2 rather than the difficult shot for a 3 or 4, I like
3, 2.
I like when teams call the draw and say 2 is enough. But in that specific situation, just drop 3 points in the first end. And honestly, the run back seemed like the higher percentage shot in this case. It's like you said, just a bit of a head scratcher there, and they might just look back on it on tape and realize that it was a bit of a wrong call.
Line's better.
The New Zealanders did score the point, so Australia's got the hammer now in end number 3. One thing we can say from the early going in this match, there's going to be lots of rocks in play, so.
Yeah, I think it's a fairly open game, Hans.
Yep, very much so.
Okay.
Center
Get
guard
over
there.
a bit wider out here and it's been coming back as much.
Okay. A little more. Yeah.
Holly Thompson looking on. Her counterpart, Michelle Fredericks Armstrong.
Might get the back one.
Talk to me.
10.
Sitting very wide at the moment.
One thing we've seen is that these stones will curl.
Okay, Michelle.
Go, go, go. But whoa, 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 whoa. Just to the back, not out, not out.
Okay.
Whew. Pretty good.
That stone was in the free guard zone area, so if Williams had swept it completely out of play, that stone would have been replaced. So Kim Forge giving her a bit of a tip that, yeah, you can sweep it, but please leave it in play. So 2 New Zealand stones deep in the house, in the blue 12-foot circle. To the Jaranjan. And Smith now backing off.
You've had 3 or 4 rocks down that same patch. It's going to get quicker.
Bridget Becker giving her front end a bit of feedback about keeping an eye on the path.
Do you like this? This way. Okay.
Okay.
Not quite where you want to put all your stones. Back with 12. Could be more helpful to Australia, if anything. They can now put a couple of yellows on top of the house. It'd be hard to remove them. With all the catchers at the back.
Talking.
And Powell.
Just where my broom is.
Corner.
Don't want it to over curl. Good shot, Ann.
Alert. Nice. Oh, sorry.
Williams kicked that stone. It was a stationary stone, so
You happy with that? Sorry, Bridget.
players agreed to relocate it back into position.
Try this? Yeah.
That's a nice draw around the corner. Good to see that they are coming around the corner guard. I mean, there's a reason why you put it there. Try and use it. So many times you see teams just throw a corner and just never end up using it.
Okay.
And
Stay close. Little
yeah,
bit.
you've got to ask the question, what's the point of throwing
Where
it
is it?
up there in the first place?
Okay, line's great.
It's a waste. Yep. You're playing 7 rocks on 8, but
In front.
yeah, coming around, beautiful draw. Could set them up for a multiple score here.
Whoa.
Yep, if you're going to throw up a guard, you might as well use it. Kiwis use that center guard. Nice weight there. To the Jaranjan, drills it on the button.
That's right.
Take that off.
Follow it in. We're good.
Follow it in. Okay.
Kim Forge wants to go for it.
You like this shot?
Helen Williams' instinct was to rip the guard.
Yep. Same weight. Yep.
Yeah, you could rip the guard. Hope that New Zealand places a worse one.
Yes.
And give you a better chance at the red stone.
Wall line.
And Powell being asked to follow that stone in from
Offline. Wait on
Jaranjan.
me. Yes, no, yes. Hard now, hard. Come on, Kim, come on. Come on.
Very good line for this one.
Come on.
Williams calling for line.
Okay, that'll do.
Nice stone there from Ann Powell. New Zealand still lying 1, and now the decision time for Bridget Becker is do you
Anywhere up here.
try to guard it out now and protect that one. It's a bit lonely there behind the tee line now. Here's Jess Smith.
Line's a bit. Mid. Line's a bit high, yeah? Mid. Yeah. Up here. Yeah, hard. Get it past that front yellow. It's not. Okay, well.
I think it is. Probably could have tried to sweep that past it, but corner freeze works out well as well.
Yeah, overlaps the guards as well, so that takes away the run back.
Come in here. Back 4, wait.
We've seen a number of times how much the stones
Are
curl.
we trying to move their stone? Are we trying to move their stone?
Yep. Maybe back 8, back 12.
I'd say it could be tempting peeling the guards here.
Yep.
Slightly staggered, just hit anywhere on the outside of the red. They're both gone. You have Yellowstone on top of the shot stone here. But staying aggressive coming into the house again.
Whoa, if you can.
If you ever overthrow this one and blow it by, you know another guard's coming.
Come on.
You might never get to the shot stone.
Looking for the tap here, but weight's down, so it's definitely not going to tap. In fact, it's going to wind up being another guard.
That's quite a bit of a disaster as well. Just play the guard for New Zealand.
Got
And for sure, you'll see another one
Waist setting shot.
being thrown up by the Kiwis.
And now New Zealand can definitely go all out on defense, trying to block every path to that
Tight.
precious
Tight.
shot stone.
Hands on them. Tight. It's called static curl. Well, get over curl. Get over curl.
Needs to be careful about lining them up.
Can you roll?
Sits right on top of that Australian stone that was just thrown by Kim Forge.
Do you want to try and feel something?
If you hit this here, then hit that, and that might clear all three. So
No, we'll go this way, because in case I'm wide, I get something this way, right?
okay,
And this can go.
okay.
I am detecting a bit of an accent from Helen Williams.
Yes, it's not the Western Australian accent. She's originally from Dumfries in Scotland.
Just on the border,
Clear something out of
very
that.
close to the border of England. I've been there, I played curling there.
And how did you fare?
So we're just trying to hit that red one on the.
Lost
green
out on a tee draw.
Yeah. Practice, practice, practice. Sander?
Hey, I drew the button.
You did your part.
That one was not on me.
Sander Rolvag with a clear conscience as far as Dumfries goes, with Kim Forge trying to clear front guards, but leaves 4 of them stacked there. So
Good try.
shot stone is very well defended right now for the New Zealanders.
Quite the cluster of guards.
It's almost in the Southern Cross formation.
Yeah, but I don't know how to get it in here.
I did not catch that reference.
Well, if you take a close look at the Australian and the New Zealand flags, you'll see the stars clustered in a little diamond shape.
Yes.
Yeah, but you can't get past
The
it.
Southern Cross constellation.
What do you like?
And then when you're south of the equator like we are right now,
But then they leave a double.
one of those looks in the sky that you can see at this on this side of the world. Thank you, team. There you go. There's the Australian flag. Southern Cross, the 4 diamonds on the right.
I learned so much when I'm with you.
Even if it doesn't curl,
Pleased to
leave
be
it
of
as what I
service,
was
Sander.
blocking out there.
Can always learn from older people.
Sander Rolvag, master of the backhanded compliment.
Put some more pressure on them. But I don't want to leave like something for them to run back as well. Does that make sense? So like, just biting, cutting out that other one over there.
So it sounds to me like Bridget Becker wants to lie 3rd shot. A little bit of danger here. She's looking in pretty good shape now.
If it's short, leave it short. Where is that?
Yeah, that's the shot
Gotta curl.
tolerance, is to
Gotta
leave it
curl.
short. It looks
Take
like
it
she's just
now?
trying to come down to that
Yep.
Australian 3rd shot in the
Yep.
side of the 8-foot, but this one is going to be light. It's going to sit
Hayden.
midway, mid-tight to the house, taking away that path at least, so
What way do
reduces
you
the
get
chance
into
that the
it?
Australians could use their own stone to jump.
I started waiting for it.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good spot for it.
I agree.
Yeah, chokes off
Hit
the
this edge here.
port and no angled run on that long corner guard.
Yep.
I don't see much right now.
Well, we've got the Southern Cross, and we've got other stars in the constellation.
We're going to hit the
We might have
outside
Orion in
red
the house and maybe Pisces above the
onto
house.
the yellow, hopefully onto ours, and then onto theirs.
There we go. So we hear it from Helen Williams in the hack.
Just
Red
normal
onto yellow, onto
gateway.
yellow, onto red. And if that happens, maybe onto red at the back. So her target point, she wants to hit about 1/4 of that red New Zealand stone.
Yep. Yep. Whoa. Whoa.
Tell you what, it's not far away.
Hard. Yep.
1, 2, just by her own. Needed to catch that a
Try,
hair thinner.
It's a nice try, though.
So it ruins the Southern Cross, and it's almost like kind of a shifted set
How
of
far
Olympic
away was
rings
it?
right now at the top of our screen. But
Decent
Centimeter?
amount. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh,
here we're
And mine was
looking
worth
to
a try.
catch maybe 1/4 of the rock, hits about 3/4 of it, and that changes the angle. Blasts it right through the hole. And New Zealand is still lying 1. And look at that, 5 rocks up in front of the house, 6 rocks in the house, lots of rocks in play.
Do you like blocking out that one or the outside one?
I like in the middle one. Blocking out the yellow?
So just the guards on that one, same weight then?
Yeah. Is this enough?
So throwing a guard on the center line here.
One last. Yeah. Foot tight. Whoa.
Not 100% sure if Australia would be able to catch enough of that yellow center guard to drive it right back onto the forfeit.
Lots of weight on this one. Just going to open it up.
Actually,
Ooh.
not too bad.
Works out okay. Might leave the tiniest of ports, but
You've only got that one.
Well, that one's worth a try. Like,
Sure it is.
We can't do any damage, surely.
Lined it up.
well, they're looking at the angle run in. They're going to try and drive their own yellow stone, the one that Helen is looking at right now, on an angle onto her own rock. I'll tell you what, she makes this the score 3.
Does that go
We need to contact that there to hit that.
Or here, Helen. Just straight this.
No, I prefer hitting outwards, don't you?
I agree, Helen.
I think then this is coming this way.
Trying to
I
pick the
think
red
this
out
is easier,
is
just
way
hit
too
Arizona.
difficult.
Hit contact point there. Yep.
Okay.
This ice.
Okay.
Well, it's an option if you end up over curling, of course.
That's true, but you're sure not scoring 3 that way.
Okay,
Well,
we're
this
going
is
to
the
try
moment
this angled raise because I
if
don't
you've,
think we can do too much damage with it.
If you go into the kitchen to make yourself a coffee, make sure to return quickly because this could be one for the highlight reel of
right.
the week.
Yeah, you don't want to miss this. Come on, everybody, run back into the lounge. Take a look at this one.
Yep! Yes! Whoa! Yeah! All the way!
Yep. Real hard.
Go!
Close.
It's got the angle. It's close.
Whoa.
Just across the face. So close. But what a great try for Australia. But it's a steal of 1 for New Zealand. It was absolutely worth a try.
Oh, well.
So close to making it. But it's a steal of 1 to New Zealand. A very entertaining game so far. After 3 ends of play, it's Australia 3, New Zealand 2.
Try.
It's worth a try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, real good try. Okay. So let's put some pressure on him.
Yeah.
Line's good. Perfect.
Holly Thompson getting us underway here in the 4th end. 10 ends scheduled. If it's tied after 10, we'll play an extra end.
Good iron. Get it in.
And it's if it's tied after the extra end,
We have an extra end.
yeah.
No ties in curling.
Sleepy.
It's like there's no crying in baseball.
I like Ollie.
Holly Thompson.
Line was good.
Nice center guard there.
T-line
Tight to the
lane.
rings.
Yep. Yep, just join in.
There's definitely extra innings in baseball, though.
There are extra innings in baseball.
I've been to a 5-hour game.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains.
Is that Yogi Berra?
Talk to me!
No, it's from
but
Bull
we're up the
Durham.
middle.
Okay.
Yeah, gotta go.
T-line!
No, I got it. It's fine.
My rock.
Williams and Forge sweeping that stone into a useful corner guard position there for Shelford and Armstrong. Holly Thompson at 67% so far in the match.
Rolled it in.
shooting percentage.
Where's the weight? Yep. Yep, the line. Hard. Try and fund this one. Is it no? Okay. Well. Turn that over, girl.
Sorry, bid.
Stop.
Well, probably wanted it in the rings, but stacking up along the center line area, so might have to be a switch of gears now for Team New Zealand, and
3-7.
rather than bringing it into the house. And now you've got some center guards set up, and you can maybe go for the steal. They've certainly got the momentum.
Out to the brim. Good girl.
Fredericks Armstrong,
I think it's okay.
the wide intern.
Back. 8.
Okay. Whoa.
This one's sliding deep in the rings, but looks like it's going to hang
Bit
around.
more talking.
Yep.
That's fine.
Comes to rest in the blue 12-foot circle, but behind the tee line. So a good chance here for Divya Jayarajan to come around that center red guard on the center line, and should be looking to get it full 4 foot in front of the tee line. 46% for Div. That's a bit of a struggle for her in the early going, but a chance here to get her team some momentum.
Hard for line. Where's your weight? Hard. Ole.
This one also, unfortunately for the New Zealanders, looking a little bit light.
Gotta give it a wee bit out on that extra out on that. I like that, baby.
So the Australians lying 1. Saw some nice draws from Ann Powell in the previous end, and so another chance for her to drill one in behind that growing wall of granite in front of the house. Ends at 67% so far in the match.
Is it?
Yeah, line. Yeah, line all the way. Come on, Ann.
Forge and Fredericks, Armstrong are
Come on, get
trying to
it,
drag
Ryan,
this
come
as
on.
far as they can, trying to get it by that center guard.
Come on.
Looks like it's just going to over curl.
Okay, that's all right there, though. I can
Yeah,
use that.
it's good
That's
spot.
fine. Well sweat.
Just nudges the center guard.
Yeah.
Does cover the path to their shot rock, however.
Yeah, it makes it really hard for New Zealand to get in there. So we're going to have to play a hit on this yellow rock. Probably hit it on the nose and keep their shooter there.
Real hard. Hard away.
If you're real good, you might catch the back one too.
Yeah.
No.
Let's try.
Just over curls to make the double, but she does remove the Australian shot. So a bit of danger there for the Australians.
Get rid of some of this. No?
Well, Helen Williams,
I need this ride, Ben. We're going to be right.
if you're going to ignore those guards, you'd better make the come around. Because if you don't, the New Zealanders will absolutely draw around those center guards themselves. So
Yep, same.
an aggressive offensive play by the Australians here, but a risky one.
You're past. You're good. Wait only. Right, out the way, Myra.
Well by the guard. Good looking weight for Powell. Comes to rest, biting the 4 foot.
Well played.
Very nice shot.
You see any of that?
Nice shot, Anne.
You can either do that or that. Yeah. Control.
Jess Smith being asked to play the run back. Gonna try and drive her own stone directly back onto the Australian shot.
Hard away. Hard.
It's close.
Shot.
Oh, how good is that?
Sit.
Beauty from Jessica Smith.
Peach.
Absolute ripper.
My fault that I needed to curl.
Yeah, big smile. Absolutely, Jess. Great shot. There we see Jayarajan and Thompson holding the line, and it is absolutely perfect. Removes the Australian shot and rolls behind that pile of granite. Now Helen Williams is thinking to herself, yeah, should have ripped the guards. Even though Ann Powell made a really good shot on the come around, Jessica Smith made an even better one with the raised takeout.
Yep.
Now Kim Forge trying to clear some of the granite. Kills one.
Okay, one loop.
But great chance now for New Zealand to maybe get another one in. And we see Bridget Becker saying, yep, let's have that.
Close.
I think you have to throw like back full weight. Yeah.
That is definitely the execution tolerance. You can afford to be a little bit heavy and come back to the Australian stone, but you don't want to leave it in the open to give the Australians a double.
I think she was also pointing out that it might be a little fresher, going all wider, and just having to throw just a bit more to get there. But seems to be pretty keen on the spot too.
This one is really sliding. Is it going to curl enough to get to the Australian shot?
And that's what happens sometimes. Yeah, you just want to add a touch more. You add a bit too much. Expecting it to be a bit slower on the wing, but
and no panic.
Good ice conditions.
I give it a little bit of positivity.
Not a lot of humidity.
Just dying.
Yeah.
Not a lot of frost on the ice here, so it tends to be fairly quick, even out wild on the wings.
Becker and Smith just talking about the releases.
Over. Over.
Now, is this going to
That'll do.
rearrange things? Yes, it does. Good shot there from Kim Forge. But still something going here for the New Zealanders.
Yeah? Yeah. Maybe a little lift?
Here is
so they can come right over onto here.
Kim Forge
Right here?
on her in turn. Big weight. She needed to really step the weight up on that shot to get rid of the New Zealand guards. Now we see that there is a bit of a path to the New Zealand shot rock.
Okay,
Even though it's buried, the way it curls, it will be accessible to the Australians.
Let's block up that center thing and see if we can do like, I don't know, what do you reckon? Like over top 12, top 8.
Bridget Becker telling us that she wants to come into the rings. 46% so far for the match, but
One's good.
she can really help her team out if she can sink one around the guard here.
Another range of bump off.
Make sure it's said.
Get a rub off that other one.
Yep. Hi, girls. Yep.
The sweepers were just a little bit gun shy because they thought they overswept the last one, and as a result, I think they underswept this one. I think Bridget would have liked that one in biting the 8 foot for second shot. Not bad. Covers the shot.
Yeah, also just waiting for a line all the way down there.
Go ahead and move it. Hold up.
Clear it again, or it's too late?
Sure. If you want, we can do this pretty easy.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
And then
Yep.
clear that to there.
Okay.
My normal, probably, yeah, a bit slightly more. I
Your
think.
normal?
My
Okay.
normal.
Yep.
Mine. Just going to try and take those two guards off because I want to clear it. We've got last stone and they've got control of the front. We want to open it up. Clean release.
So Sandra Helen gave us a pretty good summary of what she's looking for here.
Yeah, just make sure you have a chance to score.
Yep.
Yep.
Tidy up, keep it open.
Hard on.
Make sure you have a way into the forfeit with your last one.
Real hard. Real hard. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Ends up actually over curling and running it back onto the shot stone. Not a terrible plan B.
Okay, it's open.
Does open up the forfeit area.
Jams it on the New
That's
Zealand
much
stone at
better.
the back, but as we just heard Helen say, it's an improved situation for them at least. Much more of the scoring area open to them.
One still, isn't it? So that's fine.
Yeah.
Same. Put it in a bit further, yeah?
Okay,
Okay,
let's
so
watch your line.
options. Okay.
Yours will be edge, though.
Way tighter, way tighter. Way tighter. Yep, line.
Whoa! Need that.
Jump. Just here.
It's got lots more weight than the last one, so it's definitely coming into the rings. Is it going to stop? Comes to rest just past the tee line, and good shot there from Bridget Becker. New Zealand is line 2. So that will assure the force. There's no way for the Australians to score more than 1 point. Makes them play the draw to try and score 1. So good result for the New Zealanders. And not an easy draw here for Helen Williams.
To the forfeit. Time still 3:75. 70, okay.
Williams will try to draw that path right up the center line, playing the intern.
Bit less.
So 370, that's a split time. We'll stop their stopwatches from the back line. And then the hog line gives them an indication of how quick the ice is.
Line's good.
Line.
Whoa.
Line.
Whoa, needs to bend. Whoa,
Needs a sweep, I think.
Whoa. Where is it?
Tell us, Michelle.
Pardon? 7.
Williams jumping into sweep her own stone.
It's there. Whoa, whoa. Okay, go.
Can't hurt it.
Go.
So another sweeping error, and it's a steal of 1 to New Zealand. Kim Forge is worried about the line unnecessarily so, and they leave it short. And I think it's a steal of 1. The players are looking at it. And Kim Forge agreeing, yes, it is 1 red, so it's a steal of 1 to New Zealand, a sweeping error by the Australians.
All right.
This one is tied.
That's
2 consecutive steals for the Kiwis.
Yeah.
After 4 ends of play,
We just need to.
we're now tied at 3.
Well, I say it's hard to throw a draw after a method. All right, we're doing all right.
Do we want to? Sorry,
keeping it out and open.
that.
Well, it panned out.
Holly Thompson getting us underway.
Got lots of curl.
In the 5th end.
Needs it. Bring it over then.
10
Get
end
it
schedule.
close over. Come on, hide over. Right up over in the center line.
This one's all tied up.
Go. Gave me a bit more positivity on her handle. Right way, that's fine, Holly.
So once again, the end getting underway with the center guard.
It's all right.
Michelle Fredericks
Yes,
Armstrong.
yeah, line. What line then? Whoa, talk to me. How heavy is it?
T.
Okay.
9, 2, 9, 8.
Come on. Here. Okay, that's good, Michelle. Well done. Well sweat, you guys.
Mentioned that we've got 6 member associations competing in this women's event at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2017. Top 3 will advance to the World Women's Curling Championship. This year that will be held in North Bay in the province of Ontario in Canada.
Any roll?
Way back, halfway. Yeah. Sorry, you got it.
That was a good control.
Nice shot there from Holly Thompson, removing the Australian rock. With a 3rd Pacific Asia team now, as the world's field has expanded to 13 teams, Sander. neither Australia nor New Zealand has ever been to a World Women's Championships. And great opportunity for both nations, really, to give themselves a shot for a first ever Worlds appearance.
Hard now! Hard now! Hard! Come on! Come on! Right up, man! Right up! Right up! Right up! Right up!
Well, a few struggles so far this week, though.
Take it! Take it! Take it! Mine! 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 Yeah, go on.
Good. Nice shot, Michelle.
Nice inside roll on the takeout there from Michelle Fredericks-Armstrong.
Control.
Rolled toward the center guard, but it's still available for Divya Janaranjan. She was a doctor, one of 2 doctors on the ice tonight. Helen Williams, the Australian skip, is a pediatrician.
It's not coming in. Come on, come in.
You've got it, but you're gonna roll out. Might stick around.
She's got a piece, and she rolls out to the wing, out into the 12-foot.
Shot down. Stand down.
There's Dr. Div. So out to the edge of the sheet for Ann Powell.
Yep! 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 Hard! Come on, Kim! Come on, Burpees! Hard!
They're worried about this one over curling. Do they have contact at all?
My fault. I should get
No.
right.
Over curls. Clean miss for Ann Powell.
Yeah. Quite tempted to come this way. Okay.
Good chance now for the New Zealanders to use that corner guard, or center guard rather.
Slow down a little bit, but not much.
Top 12 was good.
Momentum's a funny thing in sports, Sander. After that near catastrophe in the first end for the New Zealanders,
Free
all
time,
momentum has swung completely away from the Australians.
Stay close. Yep, blow it. Where is it? Yep.
Yep, and New Zealand will just have to try and feed off of it. Well, they have it.
Get it in. Hard. Hard. Get it back. Hard. Whoa, whoa.
Just try and continue forcing the issue.
Guard.
Oh, that's a beauty. Great shot there from
Guess
Div.
what, guys?
Drills it in the front 8-foot.
Shot, Div.
3/4 covered behind that center guard. Great shot.
Take these 2.
You got it.
Give me this hand.
So an opportunity here for Ann Powell to recover from that missed takeout attempt by maybe killing 2 New Zealand stones. Wants to remove the center guard.
Off. Off.
Not a nose.
Off. Off.
Not a
I'm
nose.
trying. Yep.
Oh, we got a nose.
I know I was trying not a nose.
Removes the New Zealand center guard, but leaves her own
No, but I
stone
was
sitting on
hoping it
that
would
center
get
line.
her enough, but it just didn't stay high.
Let's keep it clean so you got
Play
something
like that
good.
too,
Yeah.
wait. Give it above.
Jessica Smith on her intern.
Line's a little tight. Tight. Okay,
Not sure if I like this call all that much.
Where is it?
It's perfect if you make it, but
Okay. 12.
might be easier to just play the air turn draw here.
Bring it onto it. Yep. Right up onto it.
Don't really want to disturb that guard.
Right up.
Great brushing by the Kiwis. They're by the guard.
Great sleeping. Whoa, whoa.
Very sorry.
Shot.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a
Good
nice
fight, you girl.
result.
There, that work out.
Holly Thompson
Try king these or taking
thanking
that?
Jess for the workout.
Try these. Yep.
Hard to see how Kim Forge will be able to remove both of these stones. They're welded pretty close together, but she might be able to remove one of them.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yes. Hard. Hard on. Hard. All the way. Hard, 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 hard.
This one's flirting with the guard.
Take the roll over. Okay.
So things are definitely not going Australia's way. Forge leaves the center guard.
Yeah. I don't really. I'd rather it be right up in here, Jeff, than.
Here we see the Kiwi shot stones are perfectly guarded by that Australian rock. Bridget Becker running out of good places to put stones. Jessica Smith.
Line's good. 12. Take a look. Whoa, whoa. Where is it? Okay, yeah, bring it back. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Bridget Becker shifting gears. Now wanting to sweep the stone deep in the house.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
It's not going to happen.
Done.
Comes to rest. That's a pretty darn good shot. Bites the 12-foot.
It's done.
Takes away the run back.
This again. You want to come round?
Two nice draws from Jessica Smith.
Needs to be good.
Look how much this stone finishes.
Where's
Gets
their
around the
shot
center
stone?
guard.
Full 8.
And it buries 2/3.
375.
Great shot.
Little less. We were more lined up. Kind of nice, but
New Zealand's line 4.
kind of wanted one more probably.
Gotta go. Yep, go for line. Keep it out there a bit.
Come on, Ann.
Gotta go for line.
Come on, Ann. Come
Gotta
on.
go line. Hard line.
Come on.
Ann, harder.
Come on. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going, Ann. Hard.
Oh, what a great brushing job by the Australians. They had to go coast to coast to hold the line. Unfortunately, it slides deep.
Try.
New Zealand, we think, is lying at least 1, maybe 2. But they really had no choice but to sweep that one. It was really tight to the stones in the 8-foot.
Best thing in the world. Here?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
At least we've got a
Come
relatively
this way?
open house at the moment.
Bridget Becker looking to take away the outturn side. I heard Helen Williams say, at least we've got a relatively open
Why
house.
don't we just put one on the other side? Yeah. So they've cut us out of 1, maybe 2 at the back.
And Bridget saying they cut us out of 1.
We can block up that side a wee bit.
Says to me that New Zealand is line 2 right now.
Where is it? Tay.
Sweepers are saying that's T-line weight.
If it's behind, take it back, Jess. Back, eh? Yep. Take it back onto that back one.
Slowing.
Where is it? T.
Back 4.
Should we bring it back? Take it back behind.
Sort of in between there, a little indecision from the sweepers. Didn't know whether to take it deep or to leave it on the tee line. Comes to rest just behind the button.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes. You're just kind of hoping that'll stop in time.
Well, and we see how much these stones curl when they finish, and reasonable to think that it's going to stop on the tee line, and you know it's going to bury, at least part of it is. And here we see, comes to rest at the back of the button. New Zealand is lying, looks to me like 3 shots at this moment, but kind of a must make here for Helen Williams. Needs to freeze one right on top of that Kiwi shot at the back of the button. Otherwise, look out.
It's got to be good.
Line's good.
Yep. Michelle, help us out. Tell us.
T. Yep. Line's real good. T line. Have a look. Yep. Gotta go. It's really going. Really going. Hard.
Looks like it's going to clip that stone in the top of the 8-foot.
I mustn't let them catch.
New Zealand lies 2. Stones really curl. As sweepers, you know they're always going to finish. They're always going to curl 1 or 2 feet in the last 10 feet of travel.
Block it up.
Block it up is the call.
So what was that last one I threw? You didn't get time?
Well, the last one was back button. She'll need to take at least 10 feet off of that. Looking to guard.
Yeah, if you could ever come pretty close to the house, just cover just the outside of the yellow. That way you kind of choke off the outturn draw path as well.
Sweepers are not laying a brush to it, backing right away. This one is heavy. Is she going to make the shot for the Australians? Yes, she is. Bumps the Australian stone into the 4-foot. That's a disaster.
Yeah, it's not the tolerance at all for the shot, really. You're much better off throwing a long guard.
Yep. Sorry about that. So heavy.
New Zealand still lying 1. But that was an opportunity lost for the Kiwis. They could have really made their life
We're just going to
super difficult.
Tap the red onto the yellow, onto the red.
And We hear it from Australian skip Helen Williams. Double tap.
Maybe a little bit more ice, do you think? More ice?
Only has to promote that Yellowstone forward about 1.5 rock widths, about 1.5 feet. So she'll just be thinking draw weight here, maybe back 4 foot weight. Final stone on its way for Australian skip Helen Williams.
Yep.
Trying to save the end with a double tap.
Yep. Off. Yep. Whoa.
Yep, whoa. That must mean they're close.
Off.
Close.
Off.
Nope, nope,
Off.
nope.
Looks pretty good.
Come on.
Great shot. Double raise executed perfectly by Helen Williams.
Hey, well done, everybody.
1 point for Australia. Well done, everybody. Says skip Helen. 1 point for the Aussies. They move back in front after 5 ends of play in this very entertaining contest. It's Australia 4, New Zealand 3.
Good hit on that one. Yeah. I've got your gripper. Sorry about that. That was all me. All me. You've got to give me some time, guys. I have. Yeah.
Tell because everything's so different between everyone.
No, but just give me a time on my one. So I know if you can tell me what my last one was, then I have an idea of what I want to pull it back onto. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
First end action, New Zealand versus Australia. Final stone on its way for New Zealand's Bridget Becker. She was just trying to tap her own stone up, but she clips it thin. Spills her own stone out of the rings. A disaster for the Kiwis, but big smiles for the Australians. They score 3 points. And then in the third end, Lots of stones up front, so the only shot available for Australian skip Helen Williams is an angle raise, and so close to making it. Nearly 3, but it's a steal of 1 for the Kiwis. Smile there from Helen, so close. Then the 5th once again. Piles of rocks in play. Williams again with a difficult, delicate double tap to score her 1. And it is absolutely perfect. Puts it on the button with perfect weight. And Australia at the 5th end break leads it by 4-3. Having a look at our team stats here. And stolen points is really the story of this statistical battle. The Australians stole that 3 points in the first end, and the Kiwis stole ends number 3 and 4. The Australians took a point there in the 5th. So New Zealanders haven't had last rock since the first end of this game. And now as we approach end number 6, the Kiwis do have that hammer. Let's see what they can do with it. Glad you're with us at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2017. It's Saturday night here in Erina, Australia. It's been 21 years since the Pacific Asia Championships have been played in Australia. The last time they were played was in 1996 in Sydney. We're in Erina, which is about an hour north of Sydney.
Line's a bit tight.
On the
Gonna curl a lot, guys.
Central Coast. Beautiful area.
Have a look. Have a look. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa.
Tay, back out.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, Hans, you know what I'm going to say.
First stone of the end, 6th end. Fooled them again. A little heavy.
Yeah, it's happened in
pretty much every game we've done.
Yeah, all our games, and
Not much
it's
left.
something I've seen in other championships and experienced myself. When you come back on after halftime, the ice makers mop the ice, take away some of the debris, and also just put some pebble around the hack. You come out a little quicker, and you throw it a little heavier. And you know, first one's through the house, second one just barely hanging on. That's something teams need to think about. There we go again.
This one is also skating towards the hack, and this one is sliding through.
Too many energy bars at halftime.
That's true. Bit of a sugar rush with the jet planes, maybe. That Kiwi stone is clinging to the back of the 12-foot. That is in the scoring zone. Holly Thompson, 48% for the first half of the game.
Mine's better.
That is a thing, though. It's
More hand on this one. Not gonna
important
curl as
to refuel.
much. Get out of here.
Snack a little bit or have some sugar in your water.
Yeah.
It's a long game. Your blood sugars might drop. I know
Gotta be in.
the Swedish team of Nicholas Edin. I saw them playing a tournament in Switzerland. They had a device to measure their blood sugars, and when it dropped below a certain amount, it started beeping. The problem is that they couldn't turn it off, so it would start beeping mid-slide. Beep, 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 your blood sugar too low. Slightly annoying when you're trying to draw against 4.
Yeah.
But
Here's Ed Powell.
All the way hard! Come on, right up,
you
come
know,
on!
one of many things your
Come on!
teams are starting to look into.
Okay, all right. We're just a bit inside on.
And that one just squeaks by that New Zealand rock. So 2 Klingons there for the New Zealand. They're just hanging on to the 12-foot. So you're telling me if Nick Edin, if I start seeing an IV bag connected to the guys, they're taking sports science to a whole new level?
Yeah, that could be.
I think the other way's better.
Well, that is testament. I mean, you know, the sport, as you said earlier, Sander, you know, the advent of the Olympics in the sport
Make sure
and
it's in, girls.
the heightened athletic ability of players and the equipment. It's
Want it in.
ramping up and up and up. And if you want to be a top-level athlete in this sport,
Try.
it means paying attention to things like that.
Yeah, everything helps. Just what you eat, how you sleep, what you do between games, how you prep for games. You know, stretching, physios. It's everything you can do to improve your game. And of course, the more funding you have, it's the easier it's to do certain things. But I think still ice time and working on your technique, playing lots of curling and games is always top priority, but all the other things help as well. And of course, the physical aspect's been huge in recent years.
Oh, see, maybe I should have given her the same ice as I gave her on her first.
So an opportunity here for the New Zealanders with last rock. They're lying 2. A couple of misses there from the Australian second Ann Powell. So
Got lots of room, just for weight.
doors open for the Kiwis. Maybe they can tuck one around that corner guard.
Back 12.
Yeah, not an end to remember so far for Australia.
Back 12, back 8.
Comes around the guard, all deep, but...
Well, you'd have to say that the New Zealanders are certainly using all of the house, Sander. They've got 3 stones on the rings, but if there was a 14-foot circle, there would probably be 3 stones in the 14-foot.
That's first shot.
Do you want to sit on it?
Yeah, if you good.
There we see from the overhead. First shot stone is at the lower right of our picture, and Kim Forge says, can I just sit down on top of that one?
375.
So there's such a spread between the New Zealand stones. Great opportunity for the Kiwis to cash in a multiple point end
Gotta
here.
go.
Yeah, so the takeout's not really working out for the Aussies. Thinking, well, try and draw and
Gotta go.
freeze the Reds away, but this one pulling up way short. Just another guard for New Zealand to come around. Big trouble.
So Kim.
So it should be good.
I don't mind even up here. About there?
Jessica Smith having a good game for the New Zealanders. She's at 78%, and she has made some fantastic come-around
Just the
draws.
weight. Tight. Okay, go
Great
there.
chance for her now. If she can sink another one in there, New Zealand could lie 4.
Go hard. Hard, girls. You want a hand? Yeah.
Jerringen and Thompson trying to drag it into the house. This one does look a little light. Bridget Becker comes out to join the sweep.
Get it, buddy.
No, not quite going to bite the rings, but does at least take away the path to that stone at the back of the 12-foot.
What weight are you
Right,
getting?
right here.
70.
That happens sometimes when they're afraid of throwing too deep, just kind of overcorrect. You could hear Bridget Becker saying, you know, I don't mind
80. So
just putting a top 12, you know, just being very cautious about not throwing it too deep, and too many thoughts like that enter your head, you tend to overcorrect. And I think that might have happened in this case.
Speaking of corrections, now we'll see Kim Forge light on her first rock. See if she can make the adjustment on the second one.
Yes, line.
Make sure. Yep.
Yes,
Gotta go.
line. Wall line. Wait only. Wait only, Anne.
This one well clear of the guard.
Finish. Mine. Let me
Comes to rest full in the 8-foot. And Australia's line 1. Kind of interesting. Bridget Becker just now looking to elect the freeze.
Go like back. Back 4, back 8, Wayne.
Now they're thinking maybe we can bump it a bit. The stones curl so much, Sander, that you think they could even play backline weight and maybe move it, but
Back 4.
the freeze is the call.
Loads of room, just for weight.
Yeah, always tough to just give up on all your red stones in the house. You're thinking, oh, you know, we're lying 3.
Back 8. Okay, yep.
We want a big score, but then, you know, a draw like that comes around, and
Gotta curl it. Whoa.
sometimes you just have to admit that
Shot. Great stone.
Yeah, that's a pretty good shot there from Jess Smith. Corner freezes it.
yeah,
Yep.
Okay, just T.
leaves the same shot for Australia, though.
But from the Kiwi point of view, the way that those stones are angled, if New Zealand could ever make a play on their own stone, it would push the yellow one past the red at the back. So they're lined up very well
falling
for the
in.
New Zealanders.
So T-weight.
Yeah,
Make
that's
sure
why it's crucial
that it's
for
right up to it.
Helen Williams
Go
to
weight. I presume we're still 3-7,
get
are we?
the right line here.
Same as before.
She
Okay.
undercurls this and leaves the top 4. It might be a double for New Zealand, and for them to sit
A bundle.
5. To do some counting there. But
Whoa, looks heavy. Looks real heavy.
there hasn't been a lack of, well, there has been a lack of under curled shots so far in the game.
The sweepers just stop. They think this one's heavy, and it is. It runs right through the rings.
Yeah, well, that's
Golden opportunity here for the New Zealanders.
Sorry, too heavy.
Yeah.
Well, Becker not even looking at the tap. Looks like he just wants to draw.
Just a draw.
Just a draw.
Just tea.
Just tea.
yeah. Well,
A bit surprised by this.
Sometimes doesn't.
she will take away pretty much everything
Pardon?
with a nice draw here, but I agree, Hans. It'd be a little bit tempting, and you know, just saw your opponent skip.
So
You know,
what am I? What,
run a draw through
what
the
do you
house.
think I should be throwing?
If you come down, you play the tap, try and roll the shooter out of the way. Yes, she'll have a freeze to take away your end, but she'll be facing a huge, whole heap of red stones, putting the pressure on, and you could score a big end and win the game. Very tempting, of course, but this is showing some restraint.
Wait, go wait.
Just looking to score your 2.
Well, again, the sweepers are backing away from this one as well, so this one also looking heavy. It's definitely not going to curl around the guard. It's going to slide deep in the house. Will it stay in the house? Williams sweeps at the tee line, and it goes deep in the house and just through the rings.
Okay, okay. Same.
Right here.
This way.
Okay.
Yep, just there. Yep.
So a second chance for Helen Williams. You don't often get a let off like that, and she'll try to make the most of it. She will try to draw right on top of that New Zealand stone.
Oh.
And again, the adjustments. After being heavy on your first one, you're thinking, okay, I got to dial some weight off, and sometimes you can just dial it down too much. Let's see how she does.
So draw to the tee. I'll give you a 3-8.
Line's pretty good. Where is it? Yep. Where is it? Shot! Whoa! Shot! Just for weight. Hard. Hard line. Hard line. Hard line. Hard line.
Williams sweeping her own shot all the way down the ice, trying to get it into shot position, but I think it's over curling. And New Zealand lies one.
I think the same line. I'll just throw left weight.
Mentioned that Helen Williams is a doctor, and Divya Ranjan's a doctor, and of course I can't forget that Ann Powell is also a doctor, so
There you go.
on sheet D, if there's any kind of a medical
Alright, so it's gonna
emergency,
be
I think we're in pretty good shape. Draw for 2 points coming up here for New Zealand. Last stone on its way for New Zealand skip Bridget Becker. Chance to move in front for the first time for New Zealand if she can draw the 4-foot. Don't want to lose this stone. It will curl hard at the end, but the sweepers are pretty happy with it. Can't tap their own stone too far, however, otherwise they'll lose second shot. But it comes to rest right on the tee line. Second shot is preserved, and so it is 2 points for the New Zealanders. Nice shot there from Bridget Becker. And for the first time in this contest, New Zealand moves in front. After 6 ends of play, it is New Zealand 5 and Australia 4.
Okay.
I've seen like sometimes they catch the curl and sometimes they don't.
I didn't throw as much of a positive handle with that one.
Yeah. Might need it, yeah.
Lots of room to curl. Loads of room to curl. Whoa, whoa. Whoa.
T. Big 4.
Glad you're with us tonight. Saturday night here in Australia.
Give it a lot more positive one on that
Pacific
one.
Asia Curling Championships 2017. Women's competition tonight. That one is through the rings for Holly Thompson, so a little bit of an error there for Holly. But her and her teammates find themselves leading this game for the first time, Sander. Nice draw for the two for Bridget Becker, and that'll be a confidence builder for her.
Yeah, and the way New Zealand's setting up the ends,
Yeah, should be good.
I'm sure they'll have
Steady, look up.
more opportunities
Look up.
at scoring.
Look up.
Pretty much dominated the game since the second end.
Yep, there's been no dearth of rocks in play, that's for sure. Look how much this stone curls as it comes to rest, even though it's through the rings.
Okay, time.
Boy, it curls a pile.
3-6.
It's great. So, second chance here for Holly Thompson.
Roll that one in, yeah. Tight. You're gonna have to get it in because it's sitting really wide. Yeah, bring it in. Bring it in. All the way. Hard. Hard, get it in.
Smith and Jayaranjan on the brushes. That's a nice job. They went coast to coast on that one. Bridget Becker said, that one's wide. We better bring it in, girls. And
Yeah.
right into the 8 foot.
Get outside. Get outside there and then come in.
Good brushing.
Just hit this out. Just bury your weight.
Barrier weight, belying her country of origin. As we said, Helen is from Perth, and the ice rink in Western Australia is relatively new. So it's great to see curling now reaching right across this land down under.
That's Perth, Australia.
Indeed.
Right? Not Perth, Scotland.
Or Perth,
Come on,
Ontario.
girls, it's
That's
good.
right.
Come on.
Is it Perth there too?
There is a Perth there too.
Come on.
You guys nick all the names from Great Britain. There's a London too in Ontario.
There is.
Yeah.
Not sure there's a London, Australia, but I'll have to look that one up. It probably is somewhere. Divya Jayaranjan now going out to the wide side of the sheet, trying to remove that Australian counter.
You have to go real hard, girl. Hard away. You got to pace hard. All the way.
Thompson and Smith, great brushing, holding the line. They get a piece. They're going to lose the shooter, but
Good sweeping,
removing the
girl.
Australian shot. Good sweeping indeed. Is there a London, Norway?
3-7.
I don't think so. And there doesn't seem to be a London in Australia either.
Okay.
Not that I can find anyway.
So there you go, Australian land investors, if you want to go and build a town somewhere. London is available as a place name.
There's enough space here, I think.
Should be good.
Be sure.
Enough wasteland.
Somewhere deep in the outback.
It's okay.
Forge and Fredericks Armstrong sweeping this stone
Come on. Come on, right here. Right here.
into the 8 foot.
Right here. Well done.
Sharp.
I can tell you that there's an Oslo, in Minnesota.
I thought you were going to say there's an Oslo in Australia.
Really hard. All the way. You got it. Hard.
I'm not sure if we've immigrated too much here.
Not such a Norwegian population in Australia. Well, there's a miss for Jayaranjan. That's disappointing for the Kiwis, and a good chance now for the Australians to do something with the hammer.
I think it would be too warm for the Norwegians to come here. They figured
Weight was good.
Minnesota was cold and miserable, and figured we're right at home.
Not so much telemark skiing in Australia.
Telemark skiing. Where did you come up with something like that, Hans?
Well, earlier in the day we were talking about sports the Scots invented, including curling, and pretty sure telemark skiing might be Norway's contribution to sport.
Well, telemark is a region in Norway. And it's a mix between alpine skiing and Nordic skiing
Okay.
with a free heel. It's very fancy.
Just a free heel.
Should look it up.
Good shot.
It's a very fancy way of
Well
skiing.
done, Ann.
That sounds like a bad guy in a Western movie. Here comes the free heel. Well, Australia does lie too. Nice draw there. And Jess Smith will be asked to remove at least one of them. Bridget Becker says off right away. Now she's calling the sweepers on, so she's got at least a piece.
Down white?
Yes.
Okay. That's fine. Side.
That fooled Bridget a little bit. Sounded like she thought it was wide, but comes right to the nose. Good job there by Jess Smith.
Well, one rock higher.
Okay.
So might get a better angle at a double on the next one.
Helen Williams holding the target for her third. Kim Forge.
Little tight. Gotta go. Yep. Yes. Yes, Ann. Yep. Gotta go. Yep. Hard. Whoa. Off.
Off. Didn't come. Okay.
Good.
Oh, sugar. Sorry, Kim.
Removes the New Zealand stone, but rolls out of the rings. So, bit of a let off there for the Kiwis. Australia had a 2 brewing, but the rollout now lets Jet Smith
Control.
just remove that Australian stone.
You got it, but you're probably going to roll out. Oh, my trail.
Really
No,
nicely.
you're good.
Yeah, it's coming.
Side.
Great time.
Right on the nose.
Stop.
Jessica Smith is having a very nice game.
Okay.
Playing very well.
Really good done.
Whoa. Whoa.
Off. Right off. Off. Come over.
Sometimes you speak to the stone, and sometimes it listens, and sometimes it doesn't. Listened enough, it removes the New Zealand rock, rolls out to the edge of the 12-foot.
I don't know what it's going to do.
And Australia lies
When
one.
you get outside there, it doesn't curl that much, so just watch it. Or curl off. See if you can get a roll into the middle.
Yeah. But Jesus seems like I had
True.
at the end, so did that one.
All right. Sometimes when you get outside the blue, it's not curling, so
Yeah.
you see.
Way out in the weeds for Bridget Becker, and you heard her tell her sweepers sometimes when it gets outside the blue, it doesn't curl. So, a bit of a fresh path here for the Kiwis.
Yep. Hard. Yes. Hard.
Go. Okay, it's curling a lot.
Just leave it.
Yeah, the opposite of what Bridget was expecting the sheet to do there.
No,
She
that.
thought it might track, but it actually curled.
Huh?
Yeah, sometimes it tracks in the wing, sometimes you catch them fresh pebble.
Okay. Draw to the other side. 3, 8.
So, this game has had more turnarounds than a Russian ballet dancer. Great chance here for Helen Williams to split the house and lie 2.
Looks okay. Yep. T, guys. T's good.
Nice shot there. Splits the house perfectly, and Australia now,
Nice
they
one.
are well set up for their deuce.
All right, yeah, super.
Left. No left.
So let's see if Bridget Becker can recover from that miss on her previous shot. And
All right, curl.
hit and stick to try and force the Australians to hit and stick themselves for the 2. Haven't seen Helen Williams throwing many hits in this game. She's been throwing mainly draws.
Left. Whoa. Yep. Whoa.
Whoa.
Similar path that Kim Forge came down earlier in the end. This one does track a bit straight.
This side.
Sticks around, and it stays for shot. So nice shot there by the New Zealanders. And tricky shot now for Helen Williams to score her 2. Has to go to the side of the sheet.
Doesn't curl that much. Sorry if that's not good.
Smith and Becker looking on. Here comes the final stone of end number 7 for Australia. Helen Williams looking to hit and stick, and if she does, they'll score 2. Sweepers are not anywhere near it right now, though. Waiting for it to curl. Will it? Will it? Clips it, pushes it, but no, it stays in the back of the forefoot. So
One red.
against the run of play, the New Zealanders steal a point. Didn't come at all, but on that side of the ice, all the players have been fooled by that stone running a little straighter than they expected, so it's a steal of 1 to New Zealand. And after 7 ends of play, they go out to a 6-4 lead.
And did it go inside out on that side?
Yeah, it's under in there, but I have
Wait,
no idea.
my one, both my one and your one on that side, just like.
And Jess is the 2.
Yeah, and Jess is on as well, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if you get on it. Nice, tight.
So here we go in end number 8.
Have a little look.
I think.
Have a look at the shooting
Yeah,
percentages of the lead position.
Yep, get it in. Bring it
This
in
is
here.
New Zealand lead, Holly Thompson.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you want to look at them, really. It's been a rough one today.
Has been a bit of a struggle for the leads tonight. This one in the rings. So after trailing early and scrapping their way back and getting their noses in front in the 6th, then now all of a sudden the New Zealanders find themselves with a 2-point lead with 3 to play. And does that change your mindset, Sander, when you've kind of scrapped your way through the game and all of a sudden now you find yourself as you're setting up for the end game, thinking to protecting a lead?
Yeah, it's when you're down early in the game, you kind of throw everything at the game to come back, and you put tons of stones in play, just looking to steal. But now, as you said, when you have 2-point lead, you might be running a little scared, and you're thinking, oh, well,
Control.
got to be a little more cautious now. Can't drop the ball and drop the lead. So, yeah, it's very possible to change it up a little bit, go from aggression to defensive, and sometimes that change doesn't really work out for you.
So, whoa. Stone, Holly. Good swipe, girl.
You like that, Kim?
Holly Thompson sticks around in the back of the 12-foot, and we saw earlier in the game, actually down this end of the ice, that gathering stones around the edge of the 12-foot was a pretty successful formula for Team New Zealand.
Steady. Steady.
Get over.
Trying to freeze the New Zealand rock, but it's going to cozy up.
Okay, bad luck.
It's actually a come around. Hides a corner behind the New Zealand rock.
Top 12, top 8, fine.
That would be a back freeze,
A back freeze.
according to Anne Swisshelm.
Swisshelm, yes. It's
Mine's
a back
good.
freeze.
Top 8. Okay. Looks like it got a bit. It's not curling much yet. Whoa. Let's put it here then. It's behind here or in front?
It's all there. Yeah. One needs to go
Yep.
at the end.
Yep. Bring it up into here.
Smith and Thompson giving the feedback on where this one's coming to rest.
Great weight.
Yeah, nice shot.
Good sweep, guys.
Take this and roll over.
It's a bit more quiet in the arena now, Hans.
Yes, there were 3 games being played simultaneously. 2 of them have concluded, so Australia versus New Zealand gets the full attention here at the Erina Ice Arena.
Hard, Kim. Come on. Come on. Race. Okay, I'll look.
Gets a piece, rolls out. recap the scores in the other game for you. Japan defeated Hong Kong by an 11-3 score, and Korea rolls along, winning 9-3 over China. This Korean team is looking very, very good.
Push it wide. Whoa. Sounds a bit wider though, guys. Be careful.
They are the defending Pacific Asia champions.
Yep. Where is it?
T.
Okay.
Smith and Thompson say that's got plenty.
T back forward.
T.
Don't do. Sorry, push it wide.
And there we see the
Sit on left,
confirmation.
you think, Kim?
No, hit it again.
Okay.
Japan, after a bit of a wobbly start for Satsuki Fujisawa, are now back on the rails, and
You got it, Ann.
big win tonight over Hong Kong. And Eun-Young Kim and her team, as we mentioned, are starting to roll.
Whoa.
Big win tonight over China.
It's coming. I got it.
Nose hit there for Ed
I wasn't trying to take you out.
Helen, try and roll that way.
Sorry?
Try and roll this way.
Yeah, I was trying to roll the other way, but yeah, I should have
This way.
once it wasn't coming.
You like that, Ice?
Yeah.
Bridget Becker holding the target for her third player, Jessica Smith.
Control. Yep. Whoa. Oh. Yep. No, hard. Yep. Oh my.
You need roll?
Good start, Jess.
Nose hit. Tell you what, I've been very impressed with Jessica's play tonight. She has been steady,
Yep, probably the best player out there today.
I would say.
I think we need to roll that way, so, okay.
Okay. That's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's right.
New Zealand lies 2. Australia with the hammer here on the 8th.
Yes.
Yep.
Gotta go, Michelle. Hard.
Forge was declare that she wanted to roll this to the wing, to the left wing as we see it, to try and get some separation.
Sorry, my fault.
But again, over curls, but no easy double for New Zealand. So
Same again.
Stone is creeping further and further forward, now at the top of the 4-foot.
Control. Yeah.
Jessica Smith says
Whoa.
yes right away.
Whoa. Is that up?
No
Whoa,
need
whoa,
though.
whoa.
This one has got plenty of room.
Is that up weight or wait, but not really? No.
A little inside out, I think. Gets away with it.
Just
And New Zealand lies 2.
Great shot.
Good then. I have no idea.
So Australia was looking to
Yep, real hard, Ann.
roll to the
Really
opposite
hard.
wing of the rocks
Never off it.
in the back 12. I
Never
think
off it.
what you have to do is try and roll in front of them
Yep.
to try and set something up.
Okay, that'll look.
Hits and rolls. And there we see the local crowd, some of the Australian men's team, as well as former New Zealand or Australian representatives John Terrio and Steve Johns and Jay Merchant and Dave Imla, Ian Palangio, Dean Hewitt. The whole crew is here supporting their teammates, and it's been a while since they could go and attend live curling here in Australia, so they're taking the advantage of it.
Kind of got a hit on the nose. Can't really hit on the inside.
And some young fans as well. Australian curlers of the future. Bridget Becker.
Control. Yeah. Lots of handle. Yes. Gotta go hard.
They don't want this to over curl and jam on the back stones, but it is going to blow right by, I think. Yes, she's missed it completely.
Sorry.
Yeah, just tight slide there.
Sorry, girls.
Trying to throw it
Real tight.
back out, just couldn't throw it back out enough.
Well, it's a bit of deja vu all over again. We saw Bridget Becker miss a hit in the last end and then make a nice hit on her second shot, so she'll have to do similar here. Good chance for the Australians to capitalize, though. Here's Helen Williams.
No help. Okay, well then. You sure?
No line yet. No line. Top house. Top house, just 8 foot, okay? Whoa, 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 whoa. 8 foot, 8 foot.
Williams is not going to back off on this because she knows she needs to be at least full 12 foot for second shot, so she's staying on the brush.
That'll do. That'll do.
Is it in?
Yep.
Nice draw.
Yeah, very nice shot.
Or not?
Same thing?
Yeah. You like it or not?
Yeah.
This will be a bit of a nervy one for Bridget. She
Sorry, girl.
needs to remove the Australian shot rock, but she certainly can't afford to over curl because she does run the risk of jamming her own at the back, and if that happened, the Australians might have a shot at 3 or more. So
Yeah. You don't want to overthrow it either and hit and roll out. You might leave Australia a delicate tap for 3 as well.
Lots of handoff.
So maybe an overcorrection here. We'll see.
lots of rotation on this one.
Any roll?
No. Yep.
Safely on the nose,
Good start, Bridget.
and the New Zealanders lie to.
Okay.
Nice shot there
got
from
it.
Bridget Becker. Good comeback after the miss.
Okay, hit for 2. Clean release.
So we saw earlier that Williams had a chance to hit for 2 and didn't quite convert, and so now another chance to tie this one up.
Off. Off. Oh, no, not again.
Clean. Whoa, 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 whoa. Stick around.
It hits but rolls away, so once again, a chance for a 2 goes begging.
One
It's
yellow.
1 for Australia. They close it up, but New Zealand
Too
holds
heavy?
a 6-5 lead after 8.
Okay, sorry guys. That's twice I've been set up for a 2 and I haven't taken it. What, did I flick it out?
No,
Or just...
okay.
Same thing.
What do you think?
Yeah, I reckon we make them hit.
Huh?
I reckon we make them hit.
Put it in the wing.
Put it in the wing.
Michelle Fredericks Armstrong getting us underway in the 9th end here. Last game of action here on the Saturday evening draw at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2017 live. From Erina, Australia, Hans Fraunhoff here with Sander Rulvad. And this one has been back and forth, topsy-turvy. Now it's the Kiwis with last rock. Holly Thompson looking to come around that center guard.
Okay, well, just for weight.
Stay close.
Yep, a little bit, yep.
So it looks to me then that the New Zealanders are thinking if we can score a pair here, that might be enough. So
Line straight. Whoa,
they're
whoa,
not
wait a
thinking
minute.
about blanking and trying to
go
keep the
right there.
hammer in
Line.
10. They're going for it right here.
Wow.
Thompson's stone goes deep in the house. It's in the 8 foot.
Yep.
And Helen Williams immediately calling for the guard, so this makes it interesting. That tells me that the Australians are thinking if we're going to win this game, we have to steal the 9th and steal the 10th.
Same thing. Good girl.
Yeah, Tyler, that or get the force.
Just a guard.
Score
Should be
2
good.
and 10
Just a
and
guard,
stealing
you've
the
got room.
extra.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
a little bit the same, almost.
Yep.
Tila on the centre line, sorry.
And the approach to the end for stealing and forcing is very much the same. You got to put some stones along the centre line and close down the scoring area. So makes sense to throw the centre guard.
That one does come just short of the ring, so it's still in the free guard zone area.
If you bump that one, that's fine.
We don't see the 6-foot measure very often.
No, that's true.
If Bridget thought that stone was in, she could ask for a measure.
Tay, line's
If
good.
it was in,
Back 4.
you would be allowed to hit it.
Back 8. Take a look.
I think it's out.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's out.
Sorry, babe.
This one, Holly Thompson thinks, uh-oh, it's a bit
Good
heavy.
luck.
Sliding deep in the rings and through the rings.
That's very easy to think as a lead in this situation. That the only thing I can't do is, you know, drop it short, leave another guard
That's
for
true.
Australia to use, and again, just overcorrecting. And
That's true. And Powell now with a chance to use those center guards.
Yeah, line. Talk to me, what weight is it? Yeah, line. Hard line, come on. Get it past this, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Myra, mine.
Helen Williams taking charge with the brush, and that is a beauty from Ann Powell. Dead behind the guard.
Last one.
Front forefoot, perfect weight.
So, that was
So Divya Jayaranjan's going to be asked to remove that center guard and maybe get some action on the shot rock in the process.
Out of the way.
Smith and Thompson on the brushes, trying to hold it straight. There's one, has she got two just past it.
Good luck. Nice. Nice try, Dev.
Opens up the shot rock, though.
line's really important.
And Powell throwing down much the same path that she just threw. Just looking to take about 5 feet of weight off of it.
Yeah, it will. No.
You got room, you got room. Bring it now. Whoa. Bring it, yeah, bring it. Go on. Mine.
Trying to get it to curl a little bit to cover it, but it looks like they've left a little bit of a hole on the intern side. And there we get a great look at it from the shooter's end.
Shots.
Intern is available.
Whoa. Yep. Control. Hard. Whoa. That's a lot of weight. Whoa.
Well, she's through the hole.
Gonna roll.
Oh,
Stop.
nice shot there by
Nice try.
Jayaranjan.
Nice shot.
Marginally overswept, a little bit of
Sorry, Dev.
extra sweeping there, but a nice shot there by Divya Jayaranjan. Removes the Australian rock. And the Kiwis are lying 2.
if that
Okay,
rolls a
straight up
foot shorter, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And you leave a stagger on the red stones in behind that guard. A chance for a double from Kim Forge.
Yep. Real hard on. Really hard in. Whoa. Off.
Yep. Take it over.
Well, Forge crashes the guard. So, great chance here for the Kiwis. They're lying 2 and a chance to go around that center guard and lie 3.
Anywhere up there. About there.
Might be tempted also to clear that stone just in front of the house, but Bridget Becker saying, no, we'll go around it.
Yeah, you have a 1-point lead here with the last one advantage. You clear the guard.
Yep.
Yes, maybe Australia plays the double on the 2 open stones, but then you can blank it, retain hammer, have a 1-point lead coming into 10th end. So I agree, Hans.
You
It's
got it, girls. All the way.
definitely
Hard. You can get it.
a valid option.
Okay.
Trying to hold the line here. They're trying to get it by that center guard. Just nudge it.
That's it.
Thompson and Jayaranjan give each other a pat on the back saying, yeah, didn't get it around, but we did get a bite.
I'm supposed to try and kill us.
Is there a doctor in the house?
There's a few.
This is full of doctors.
Real hard in.
Come on.
Gotta go.
Come on. Hard.
hit. There's the roll. Removes one of the Kiwi shots and leaves herself lying shot rock just in the back of the 8-foot. Interesting. Now,
We
Bridget.
can draw down into here. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. That curls a lot down that way. Do you want to put it back curl?
I mean, you can draw down into here.
Yeah.
Or shall we
I have to go way out there.
Not even. Oh, now she's taking a look at it.
Because if we block it up,
She can see half of that rock.
Putting that back on the angle.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to do that.
Little surprised they're
I
not
like
looking at
taking
making
it
a play
Open
on
up
the
your
shooter.
shots.
Yeah. I reckon, yeah.
See the time clocks in the background.
Yeah,
New Zealand
straight
has
back.
plenty of time, so they can think about their options.
Hit it there. You even tap that one in.
Well, looks like she's electing to make a play on the
Right there?
Australian guard. Maybe trying to drive it straight back, Sander.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to open the front, but they could have done that previously.
Whoa. Yep.
In this case, I think making a play on the stone in the house or
Jump.
just playing the intern draw
Right side.
Well, that's
would
a pretty good result.
have been better. But yeah, I agree. It's not a bad shot there. Again,
Hit and roll again. Yep. Or just draw into here.
throwing
Which you like.
throwing really well today.
Yeah, she sure is.
Well, this is good. Hit and roll over. Yep.
Opens up the Australian shot. So Australia is
mine
still
staying
lying
straighter
one,
than
but
yours.
Yep.
importantly,
I think that's enough ice.
opens up the shot rock for Bridget Becker.
I'm all surprised Australia keeps playing the hit and roll here. I mean, they're one down without the hammer. They're even lying shots though now. Why not just come around the centre guards? Much easier way of placing your stones. Yes, there's a tiny bit more risk, but you're gonna at some point you're gonna have to take a risk here if you want to win the game.
No, I agree. They set center guards early in the end with the intention to steal, and they've got a center guard now. But Williams is going to try the hit and roll.
Yeah, if you nose hit, forfeit's fully open. You roll a bit too far, you leave a double for New Zealand to sit 2.
And we heard her say again, is she wide? Waiting for it to curl. Has she got a piece? Yes, she does, but she rolls away and out of the rings.
Yeah, it's not really helping.
Mine just aren't coming down there anymore.
Yeah, there have been a few down this track that
Hit it, bud.
they're expecting more curl than they're getting.
Should we just hit it?
Just hit it.
I just want to hit. Okay.
Yep, hitting is definitely the
And
right
they can
option
just draw
here.
in behind there though.
Just giving a lot of ice. It's good.
Then they can just draw back up onto it. Try and get a roll that way so it's
Roll
sitting
out.
out.
Really
Yeah.
matter if we roll out.
Yeah.
Because no one else is in the
Roll
house.
what way, Brad?
Well, like, I mean, there's no more there from the house, yeah.
We put a draw in there now though.
Pardon?
Huh?
Oh, what are we doing?
If we did a draw in there now, instead of hitting, that's behind teeth. They just got something to come and sit back on.
So we're drawing?
Well, they're talking about a draw, but the hit seems to be the...
Do you want to hit?
Oh, I don't mind.
Okay, we'll hit it. It's going to curl a lot, so just be ready.
Okay, sounds like they've settled on the hit.
Yeah, well, they know what's coming. Play the hit. You know Australia, well, hopefully, they'll
Yep.
try and come around the centre guard.
Yep!
And then, worst case scenario, you give up one, you try with the hammer.
What am I doing?
My goodness, another miss from Bridget Becker.
Right, now let's just...
Am I rolling it?
think this through. We need enough ice that we don't jam on it.
Just not enough ice?
Still 3-8.
Yeah, 375.
Okay.
I'm up.
So now we'll see the draw.
4 foot.
Great.
375 is what you want, yeah.
Great chance for the Australians. If they can get one behind that red center guard in the top of the button area, going to make life very, very difficult for New Zealand.
Line's good. Gotta go. Come on. Full 8 foot. Full 8. Line's real good. Gotta go. Come on. We're
Hasn't
tight
got
now.
enough weight to get second shot.
Go.
I don't
Bounce it
think
over.
so.
Bounce it over.
Whew. What a let-off for the New Zealanders.
Sorry.
So now Bridget Becker gets a shot at redemption after missing the hit. If she can execute this time, it'll be a pair for New Zealand.
If I look like a roller, just jump on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a shot thought that you want, Bridget.
Got to hit and set though to get to.
A roller, is that dumping the rock?
Yeah, she's worried that she's, coming across the top on her out turn, but just has to have a positive thought now. Throw it clean, hit the stick. Last stone on the way in end number 9.
Looked a lot more positive, that's for sure.
Stay close.
Popped it a wee bit more on release. More weight as well.
Whoa. Got any?
I wonder if it's an overcorrection in your hands. More weight, more positive throw, rolls out.
Hits half, though, removes the Australian stone, so the chance at 2 is gone, but it is a score of 1 for New Zealand, so didn't quite capitalize on that opportunity, but New Zealand does carry a 7-5 lead into the 10th and final end.
Put side corner guards up. So 2 corner guards for me. I'm going to keep it to the side, keep the centre open. Try not to hit too much. We need 2. Okay, so we've got to have good stones. Okay, we need to give ourselves an opportunity to take the 2 for the extra end.
Yeah, we've got lots of time left too. We're good.
Okay, so what score is it now?
We're down 2.
Down 2.
Got it. We probably should have followed it in case it picked A.
Welcome back inside the Erina Ice Arena in Erina, Australia. Hans Fraunlup here with Sander Olvag. It's the Trans-Tasman battle. Last night it was the Australians getting the better of the New Zealanders in the men's competition. Tonight New Zealand is holding a 7-5 lead in the 10th end against Australia, but Australia's got the hammer. 2 points would tie it and send it to an extra end. How's it going to end?
Well, you never know, Hans.
I guess if we did, wouldn't be much point playing the game, really, is there?
Fair point. So New Zealand throws their first one through, which is interesting. I don't think you'll see most teams doing that with only the 2-point lead. But
Nice lines, Holly.
that stone hogged now by Australia does make life easier for New Zealand.
Yep, the throw through is a defensive play. You're trying to protect the lead and you don't want stones in play. Yes, but as Sanders said, with a 2-point lead, you will see other teams perhaps throwing it in the top of the 4-foot, but New Zealand electing to throw through and trying to ride out the 2-point lead.
Couldn't take use of the free guard zone. The second guard,
Okay,
New Zealand will be allowed to remove.
Good.
Michelle Fredericks-Armstrong throwing the nice corner guard there.
No more? Yeah.
And now let's see how Team New Zealand deals with these guards.
Yep. Yes. That's like really curly, yeah.
Did I turn it?
Well, that spot fooled Bridget Becker going down the other way, and it fooled Divya Jayarajan coming this way. That's a miss, and here we go, folks.
Yes.
Here's one corner guard for Australia. Now they're going to ask for another one. And Powell. Forge and Fredericks-Armstrong on the brushes. Williams comes out to join them. They're fine. They've got plenty of weight.
Center.
Good.
So Australia has the 2 guards that they wanted to have.
They come outside
Yeah. Could you
New
give me a
Zealand,
little
on
bit
the
more
other
ice?
hand, would like to be shot of them.
normal?
Yeah, but I think it might still curl a lot.
Yeah, doesn't curl as much on this side. Yep. Whoa, whoa, yep. Whoa. Roll
Much
it out.
better throw there from Div Jarajan.
Zone.
Nice peel. And Powell being asked to replace that guard.
3.
This one's looking a little more positive. It's going to flirt with the rings.
Okay, good.
Comes to rest just short. Nice shot.
Yeah.
Now it's the turn of Jessica Smith to try and eliminate one of these Australian guards.
Control.
Yep. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yay.
Oh, yeah, hard.
Oh my goodness. Bit of a misread there.
That one, that's
Called
my
them
fault.
off. Yeah.
Yep. It's the top house.
Bad break for Jess Smith. The shot was made, but a bit of an error on the sweeping call.
It's a 75.
So great chance now for Australia to use these guards. Kim Forge.
Yep. Yep.
Once again, Skip
Tight as
Helen
you can
Williams
go.
Mine.
jumps up to join them, but I don't think that's got enough, Sandra. That's going to come up short, well short.
Yeah, and it begs the question, what will New Zealand do?
Well, at some point you pull the pin and you stop clearing, don't you? I mean, you got 3 guards there. Can you eliminate them all?
I don't think so. So I think at this point you might as well maybe come around the guards.
Jess Smith kills at least one, but leaves her own there, so that doesn't really help the New Zealand cause at all.
Get it this time. Okay. Yep.
Kim Ford says, get it this time. Australia has 3 rocks to play, and if they can get them all behind guards, they can win this game. They've got last rock. 2 would tie it. But they certainly got everything they wanted to have. If you would have said at the midpoint at the end, you've got 2 corner guards and last rock, would you be happy? And they'd say, yep, we'd like that. Kim Forge needs to get behind one of those guards, though. This one is well
Finish
clear.
But we know it curls.
No line.
It
No
will
line.
definitely curl.
Should finish.
And it is finishing huge. It's going to the back of the forefoot. And Australia lies 1.
Could have swept that even deeper. It's more important to get it buried
What was that?
rather than in front of the tee line. Bridget Becker,
Everyone else's is curled real
see
off,
a
so-
good chunk of it. Should be able to come after it.
Yep, you're getting the view of the shooter in the hack, and we can see that at least a third of the target rock is available. This is going to be a weight shot, though. You don't want to overthrow it. So it looks like probably just board or control type takeout weight for Bridget Becker.
Control up. Yep. Close. Yep. Hard. Whoa.
This one's got lots of rotation.
Whoa.
By the guard.
Can you roll this?
Oh, good looking shot from Bridget Becker, right on the nose. Great shot.
Go bid.
So you should have hit and rolled over.
Just sit on it.
So
You got to tap it back just a little.
yeah, I gave
Like
you
get that roll over there so
ice,
they haven't got
but
anything
I
to
think
sit
I
on.
need more than that. Oh no, I gave you about that ice. So
Hindsight.
Yeah, woulda, coulda.
yeah.
Looking
over
for the
there.
roll, but
There?
nice result. I'll tell you what. That's no gimme for Helen Williams to freeze that stone.
Yeah, needs 2 good draws here now to tie up the game.
Draw up to it.
Just freeze,
Just have
weld
like a
this one
tiny
on.
bit.
Can you see any of it?
Ideally, just a hair on the center line side, and it's pretty much impossible for New Zealand to peel it out.
On the other hand, if she over curls, New Zealand would stay shot. So line is just as important as weight on this one. A bit of a wobble there from Williams on the way out of the hack, but corrects smoothly.
Gotta be here.
Williams thinks it's light. She jumps it immediately. Doesn't look too bad.
She was light on her draw in the 9th end, too. This one's starting to lose the handle. It's going to start curling big.
Leave yourself a second shot here.
Behind the corners. It's actually going to
That's all right.
almost turn back.
Well, it does over curl, so New Zealand is lying 1 in a decision now for the New Zealanders. Do you draw one in? Do you guard?
Well, if you throw the guard, there will be that flash
Yep, throw a 3 and
on
we'll
the
sweep it.
wide corner
Throw a
guard
3
for
and we'll
Australia.
sweep
If you remember,
We're just putting one either right up onto it.
Early in
which
the game.
goes in.
Yeah.
We don't want to leave
It's
it double.
true.
there was a
Helen did have an angle run in that she very nearly made.
I'd be tempted to come into the house here. Just corner freeze Leo.
Trouble is, of course, if she's a little bit wide and leaves it open, she gives the Australians a double takeout to tie. So just as it was for Williams, rock placement crucial.
Bumping.
Well,
Back, fall back out.
sweepers are saying it's bumping, so this one's got lots of weight.
Sweep it
Just
past.
gonna make sure do not leave an easy double here.
Don't leave an easy double.
Make the best out of it, and they're not doing anything. And I'm not actually sure if there's very much to do with the shot as a pound out.
Yeah. Just a little indecision there from
Throw it like you've been throwing it.
Yeah, just
the sweepers and the line reader. Needed a little bit more decision there to get a bit more separation. Good job from the sweepers saying, yeah, it's going to bump. And once you had that information, then could have swept it and pushed it a little bit farther.
okay. So we need to hit this just off nose.
It's just the wrong side of the tolerance.
No, it's just
Better off stopping in the 8 foot there,
Yeah, or
Could
10
you go
feet
to
light.
pass?
Okay, so
and making
clean
the draw
release.
harder.
Yep.
My normal.
So, comes down to this. Final stone just about ready to be thrown by Helen Williams. If she makes the double takeout and scores 2, we go to an extra end. If she doesn't, New Zealand will win the game.
She's undercurled a few in-turn takeouts. This is on her out-turn.
Yep. Hard! Yep. Yes! Real hard! Hard! Come on!
No.
Well, it does over curl, and it looks like a score of 1, but that's immaterial because New Zealand was leading by 2. So the double takeout not made in a back and forth contest.
One yellow.
Play.
The survivors at the end of the exercise are New Zealand. New Zealand take away their first win of the competition. Bridget Becker and her teammates
Sorry, guys.
coming back after dropping a 3 in the first
If I
end
had made it
to come
myself,
away
I would've won.
7-6
Sorry.
winners. And Sandra Rolvag, that game had a bit of everything.
Yeah, we favoured New Zealand coming into the game, but a big mistake from Bridget Becker, giving up a steal of 3 in the first. Just made it a long road to get there, but in the end, we were able to edge out Australia and prove that they were the better team overall, but a bit of a scrappy game from both sides, and we're going to have to up their game against a better opponent.
They were just staying straight.
No, I'd have to agree with that, Sander, but a win is a win, and it is definitely a win for Team New Zealand. And so there we see the confirmation of the scoreline after dropping a 3 in the first. New Zealand came roaring back with 1s in the second, third, and fourth end. Australia moved ahead in the 5th, and then New Zealand took control from there with a deuce, a steal, and then Australia couldn't quite tie it up with that final stone, and New Zealand are your winners tonight. women's round robin play, Australia versus New Zealand. In the third end, Australian skip Helen Williams with an angle raise attempt to try and score 3, fractionally goes across the top of her own stone. It's a steal of 1 to New Zealand, making the score 3-2. In the seventh end, Australia now with a chance to score a pair. Williams has to hit and stick, but it's a little bit wide, clips the New Zealand stone and leaves it sitting in the back of the forefoot. So it's a steal of 1 to the Kiwis, and they're ahead 6-4. Another opportunity for Australia. Williams trying to hit the New Zealand stone and stick, but rolls away. It's a single point to the Australians. The New Zealanders are clinging to a 6-5 lead. 10th and final end. 2 New Zealand stones sitting in the forefoot circle for Helen Williams. Needs the double takeout to force an extra end, but the stone over curls. Australia scores 1, but they needed 2, and it's a final score of 7-6 for New Zealand. So let's have a word with winning skip Bridget Becker.
A rough start for New Zealand, but you're able to turn the game around. How did you do it?
I think it was my team, wasn't me. It was Jess, our third, had a fantastic game. I hardly missed a shot, and the other two picked up their game and played really well. So I think we just sort of relaxed after we had such a shocker in the first end and thought, well, we can't do any worse. Let's see what we can do from here.
You have a pretty young team out there. What does the future hold for you guys?
Oh, well, this is the first actual tournament we've played together as a team. And to be honest, we've only practiced together once as a team. So this is these first few games we're using as a build-up, and hopefully we'll improve. But yeah, hopefully in the future might get better, and we'll see where we go.
Enjoying the Central Coast?
Loving it. Maybe not so much the rain today, but the beach and then having to come inside to a curling rink does, yeah, it has its perks. Yeah.
All right, thanks. Congrats.
Oh, thank you.
So nice comeback win for Team New Zealand, taking away their first win of the competition. So that's all for us tonight, Saturday night here in Erina, Australia. On behalf of our entire production crew, my colleague Sandra Rovag, I'm Hans Fraunlab. Thanks for joining us at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships 2017, and good night from Erina.